what is one thing that you would tell a brand that's thinking about doing redesign for their packaging?
Understanding what we were trying to achieve, what we were trying to do at the beginning. Because just changing packaging to, I don't know, to make it look a bit different or something like that is, that's okay, but it's wasting the opportunity.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me today on Packaging Unboxed Podcast. Yes, we finally changed the name of this podcast. I know we've talked about it. We've mentioned it for a while. We've finally done it. The team over at Work & Company did the complete rebrand. So I'm super stoked on the way everything looks. We're slowly rolling everything out, but don't worry, we'll catch up. Now, the one thing that I want you to know about is that today we are talking to Olive Natural Skincare. Mark Green is the CEO and founder, and what they've done is they've done a complete packaging redesign. We're going to talk to them about why they did the packaging redesign, who they worked with, how it impacts their business, what the decisions were that they made in order to get to the point where they're going to make that decision to change their packaging, and how consumers are dealing with the change, right? These are things that we don't typically see on the back end. What happens after the packaging change? How do you communicate that to consumers? We're going to get into all those good things. I'm super stoked. I want to share this with you. So let's get to the show on Packaging Unboxed. All right, let's do it. All right. So today we've got Mark Green from Olive Natural Skincare. How are you? Thank you for being on. Really appreciate this.
I'm very good, thanks. So I'm Mark Green, the CEO at Olive Natural Skincare. If anyone thinks that I've got a slightly strange accent, that's because I do. I'm down here in New Zealand, which I think is a great place to make natural skincare.
You're a New Zealand-based skincare company since 2001. So you've been around for a while. And what's happened is you've recently relaunched all of your packaging, all new redesign. So can you tell me what you discovered in the brand that made a redesign a priority today in 2022? What changed in the business?
As a management team, we felt that the old packaging design wasn't really supporting the brand as well as it needed to. And we had some intuition as to what may be missing or what we perhaps should change. And we entered into some market research and some market feedback, and that really was the missing part that gave us the final answer. And really, in a nutshell, what it was that for our brand, for what we're trying to achieve, the big thing was for our packaging design to connect with people on an emotional level.
And when you say that what you were trying to achieve as a brand, what exactly are you trying to achieve as a brand?
Look, our great ambition would be to get as big as we can in the biggest consumer market in the world, which is the US, and we would have aspirations to become, if we can, the predominant natural skincare brand in the US. That would be our great aspiration.
So, all right. So then if we're looking at your previous design compared to your current design, were you looking at it from a lens of this is going to speak to the American market?
Our previous design, we felt, was a little bit too similar, if you like, to many others in the natural skincare area. So dominated by green and white coloration, and B, dominated by fairly standard shapes, particularly right angles. And we just felt that we wanted to move away from that, offer something different, because we're the new brand. We're the disruptors. We're the ones trying to do something new in a big market. And so it was this decision to look to connect emotionally. Then there are a few nuances, if you like, which we introduced to give a focus on the US market. But I do have to say that we never overtly looked to design for the US market. It was, I guess we just have a very international kind of outlook and hope that that will appeal to US consumers.
Sure, absolutely. Are you in any US doors at this point?
Approximately 3,000.
Wow.
So
all right.
Our friends at CVS and our friends at Rite Aid and some regional supermarket or grocery chains as well. But that's what it is for us, that we've had very good uptake, very good interest, and now it's a case of getting it out there, doing some clever marketing, and hopefully the consumers will pick up on the product.
And then who did you work with on redesigning your packaging? Was there a local agency, or where was this agency from? Or did you do it internally?
Yeah, look, we've got a quite a strong internal team.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually three of us. We've got an in-house designer who obviously comes at it from a very much a design perspective. And then there's me, who's got many years experience in consumer packaged goods. I've just seen so many products over such a long period of time and built up some experience. And then a third person who happens to be my sister, who's very, very artistic. She runs an art dealership, that type of thing. And so we had those three people as an internal team, and then we collaborated with a Texas-based design company who we felt comfortable to work with and felt would give the right outcomes for the project.
Oh, awesome! And do you mind naming who that team was that you worked with in Texas?
They're called Brandarella. Jamie is the lady's name, and it was a really interesting project, and we enjoyed working with them.
Wow, that's awesome. Why? So curious, why New Zealand brand working with the Texas company versus working local?
Look, we are very conscious that we sit here in New Zealand and we say tomato and you say tomato. So we've got to be quite careful about those sort of subtleties or those nuances. And so we felt with the kind of strength of the internal team down here that it made sense to mix it with a local US design agency. And look, hopefully we've come out with the best of both worlds or best of both countries.
Yeah, no, that's great. So as you're talking, it's making me just, I'm just thinking through opportunities. So it sounds to me like for brands that are built in New Zealand, which there are lots and loads of brands that are coming out of New Zealand. If you're a US agency and you want to pick up new clients, it might be great to start marketing in New Zealand as the US agency that can bring you into the US. Always thinking marketing, like how can we bring more business one way or another? And it seems like that would be a simple opportunity for any agency out there that's listening, maybe wanting to reach out to that New Zealand market. Because again, there's a ton of great products coming out of New Zealand.
Yes, I would agree with that. And I think these linkages, particularly with consumer packaged goods, where really you've got to get things right along every step of the chain through to the final consumer. It's not like some, I don't know, agricultural commodity or something like that. And so getting all of those steps right, it is a case of collaborating with the right people. But also it's important that it doesn't just become dominated by the US thinking or the US perspective, because then it just becomes a US brand and it kind of loses its points of difference.
I think in the US, we're looking for that exotic agency to come in and help support us. So we're actually, brands here are actually looking overseas for agencies to come give us a new perspective. And it's funny to see someone overseas coming here for our perspective, which I think is great all around.
I guess service companies who operate or exist down here in New Zealand is our population is so small that to actually be successful down here, you have to be pretty sharp and pretty onto it and constantly coming up with innovation or whatever, because we just don't have the population for a brand or a service or a product to just be carried through by volume. We just don't have that. So it does come down to innovation and that sort of thing. And I think particularly we see more and more of that coming through in areas like movies or like TV. I mean, I'll brag a bit maybe. We did really well in the very, very recent Emmy Awards. Or you think of Peter Jackson making the Lord of the Rings movies from here, or the latest Thor movies are directed by a New Zealander. Or what about Lord? She lives 5 kilometers from where I live. So look, there's plenty happening here.
There is. I mean, Oprah, from what we hear, Oprah's bought, a third of New Zealand at this point.
Oh, that's good. Well, I need her to promote our product.
If she tries the product, it'll just explode, right? So, all right. So for many founder-led brands, brands are just led by the founder. Making a change like this is really difficult. So it's great to hear that, as a founder, you realize there's an opportunity to make this change and making it. What was the hardest or scariest part of making that decision to go and change your packaging?
It is really just that very first decision, because you've got something there and there's levels of comfort, and just making that decision that you really think you need to move on from that. But it was pretty amazing because we did get that market research confirmation of what we intuitively felt. And really, as soon as that market research told us about that need for emotional connection, we felt that we really got it as a project and as a team, that we while we didn't know how the project would evolve or develop, we kind of felt that we really knew the structure of what we were trying to achieve.
At this point, has the new packaging hit retail shelves already?
We're just in the process of doing the changeover with both Rite Aid and CVS, so it's literally a work in progress right now.
Sure. And so how does that work, right? You have established inventory with the previous design. You have a new packaging that's going to market. Do you do just a hard launch of the new packaging, or is it a soft launch and you work through all the inventory with the old packaging?
What exists in between soft and hard? Because that's kind of what we're doing. We have offered and arranged to swap out all of the product in the DCs, so in the retailers' warehouses, but not the product at each individual store. That just gets too finicky and detailed and frankly expensive. So the way it'll work is that the new packaging product is about to hit all of the DCs, and then really as soon as the stores start ordering, so the new packaging will get out there, and then we'll just try and make sure we run promotions, etc., to clear the old packaging off shelf as quickly as possible.
Got it. So you'll discount the old packaging just to move that product out. What do you do in between, right? So this is between a soft launch and a hard launch. So what do you do in between to not lose any customers that are super familiar with your current packaging and transition them to the new packaging?
you hold your breath and hope. You have your website, but look, underneath it all, you simply have to have the confidence that you're doing the right thing. And frankly, I think too many brands or businesses get trapped by fear of doing something, whereas we just feel that it is such a strong improvement that we just need to do it. And to the extent we may lose some customers because of that lack of familiarity, or I don't know, preference for green dominated design. We feel that we'll pick up more customers through the attractive, bright, maybe artistic type design that we're putting forward.
Yeah. No, and you're right. A lot of times brands are terrified of making this change. One, you've got people in procurement that have to look at the amount of inventory they've got to work through, the loss they may take on discounting, then the fear that you're going to lose clients. Typically it's like a 10% drop at the initial change, and then you get a spike after that with new clients and picking up that 10% again. But it's that fear of making a decision where they end up just not making a decision. So congratulations on making the decision and going through with it, because it's not an easy choice for brands today.
We've taken all of those matters into account and kind of put them into a box and tape the box shut and put it in the corner. And so we know there's costs and losses and hassles and frustrations, but it still doesn't change the dynamic that is what we need to do. We do need to make the change. We want to. It is simply a far superior product and brand with the new design.
So if we look at some of the behind the scenes processes, right? We know it's a difficult choice. We know you're talking to an agency in Texas and you've got an internal team. What in this process, what was the most enjoyable part for you? When you look back at the whole process, what's the one part that you're like, that was a lot of fun?
Am I only allowed to choose one? Look, I think the most enjoyable was, sorry, I'll go back a step. What evolved was actually an incredibly complex design. We actually run a different background color on every panel. So if you, on any individual SKU or any individual product, every panel is a different color. And that's an incredibly complex and challenging design proposition. And it was quite confronting as we evolved that, because the color combinations, when you're trying to combine 5 or 6 different colors, it does get kind of a bit spooky and quite difficult. But when we actually saw that coming together, and that's where the value of my sister, whom I mentioned before, the very artistic kind of perspective came in, because she dominated that color combination choice. Mm-hmm. And really, as we saw that emerge, I would say that was the most satisfying, the most fun, the most enjoyable for sure.
Because your new packaging has so many colors to it, I'm sure you're looking at a lot of different spot colors and different processes for printing this to achieve that color. Is this new packaging more expensive than your previous packaging?
Okay, trade secrets. Look, we import our packaging from China, and with the changed dynamics of world trade, etc., Chinese businesses are way more hungry for sales now than they have been. Look, in my total experience, and we're actually very pleased that our packaging cost has not increased, even though
Amazing.
the complexity has, even though a lot of other costs or prices around are increasing. And I simply think what it is on the printing packaging side, yes, costs have gone up, but those packaging companies are just more hungry for business, need the throughput, and therefore they're offering to hold our previous pricing.
Yeah, no, and that's a great, right? So if you're talking about opportunity and producing in Asia, these factories, any factory that's doing packaging, boxes, bottles, it doesn't matter. They have tremendous amount of staff. And as different companies are slowing down their ordering process, they need to keep those people staffed. So it's a great opportunity for somebody that's ordering packaging to really try to negotiate a better rate, because as long as your packaging is being produced there, they can keep their staff employed. And you never want to, especially going into holiday, these manufacturers don't want to hit, they don't want to reduce their staff and all of a sudden be hit with a spike because of holiday. So it's always a great opportunity to negotiate every time you're ordering packaging. I think a lot of times people forget that and they go, oh, they gave me an invoice for this much. That's how much it costs. But, you always have to ask for a discount. You always have to try to negotiate.
Yeah, I agree. And I guess that's just something that we build into our thinking. It's not only asking for a price reduction or probably more for us. It's to make sure that our previous pricing is held in a world of increasing costs. But it's also to make it just firmly clear to them that A, you do have other alternatives, and B, you will move. That you just got to make sure that they understand that even if they are the incumbent, that status requires ongoing performance and ongoing meeting of the market, if you like.
Sure. And I got to tell you, I love the fact that your website has a button on there for packaging redesign. A lot of times brands launch new packaging and they'll do social media, they'll do all these different things, but on their website, they never really talk about what they're doing and why they're doing it. So you've had this button on your website for a while now, since the process. What's been the feedback from consumers? Are you getting anything back from consumers?
It's not a huge major point, but it has been quite polarizing. It actually surprised us, but then in retrospect doesn't surprise us. We've had one strand of people saying, "Oh well, thank you, thank you for the explanation and thank you for telling us what you're doing and that type of thing," which are people who have dealt with us before or who know the brand, who know the products, that sort of thing. And then there's this other strand of people who don't really know the brand, haven't interacted with it before, and they go, why are you telling me all this information? I'm not interested in that. I just want to look at what there is, and you don't have to give me history and background. So look, it has been interesting. We took the decision that we just simply needed to tell people who know the old brand design that, hey, you have arrived at the same website. This is still us.
Right.
And so we felt we should just, I guess, show that respect. And now we're talking of when that information will be removed from the predominance that it
Right.
has and just become a small part of our overall history, if you like.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great point. It's like, it's great to launch it, but then when do you remove it? Mark, real quick, as we start wrapping up here, what is one thing that you would tell a brand that's thinking about doing redesign for their packaging?
Understanding what we were trying to achieve, what we were trying to do at the beginning, because just changing packaging to, I don't know, to make it look a bit different or something like that is, that's okay, but it's wasting the opportunity. These are big projects and complex and can be expensive, as we talked before. And I would just advise people to really take a step back and try and work out what their business and brand strategy is, and then look to make the packaging design and change the changes fit within that very broad or deep strategy or philosophy.
Is there anything that you want to add? Maybe something that I didn't ask you, or anything that you'd like to add to the conversation?
Yes, buy our product. Buy Olive Natural Skincare. Buy.
Yeah, there you go. And where can you get this product? You said CVS, Rite Aid, and it's called Olive Natural Skincare.
Yes, CVS Pharmacy, Rite Aid pharmacies, and then on our website, Olive Natural Skincare, or we've got our social media as well. So Olive Natural Skincare. Actually,
Sure.
Olive Natural Skincare
So if I order
_USA.
Got it. So if I order from your website, and I fill up my shopping cart and I hit submit, that goes straight to the DC. That's an order fulfilled directly by Olive, or is that an order fulfilled by CVS or a co-packer?
No,
Like, how does that work?
Our website is our own fulfillment.
Perfect. So we're going to drive people to olivenaturalskincare.com, right? Now, yep, olivenaturalskincare.com. So go order there. CVS is great, but let's go to olivenaturalskincare.com.